All right. So, how about who? I think we kind of talked about this already, right? You like to spend
Yeah,
time with your mom, with your sister. Is
yeah,
there anyone else that you would spend some extra time with if you had the time?
yeah. With my family and my friends, I prefer to spend my if I have a vacation. Uh, I prefer to spend this vacation with my family, with my friends, my relatives also.
Okay, good. I know that we talked a little bit about like breakfast with mom and, shopping with the sister and friends. Anything else that you would like to do with these people?
I go to the gym. I Sometimes we make some parties. We make barbecues. Um, we go to the park in the weekend, especially in the weekend. We prefer to go to the park when the weather is cool. As you know, the weather in Saudi Arabia is very hot in summer. So if we want to go to the park, we go at night. I go with my friends, with my family. Uh,
Nice,
yeah,
nice. I love to be outside and in nature. And America, barbecues are very, very popular. So those are always good things to do with others.
yeah,
Cool. More about the ideal day.
yeah,
So this is kind of asking to point out like maybe two key factors that come to mind. So we've talked a little bit about kind of the overall. What is the most important then? Like if you had to say like two things,
yeah.
right? Like these are the most important parts. What would they be?
Yeah, when the good health, if we are in a good health, everything else will be easy. So the most important thing for me is to be in a good health, and also my family, my friends. Another thing, if the weather hot, I don't like hot weather, so I prefer to stay at my home. So the next thing is cool weather. So in winter for me, most ideal days in the winter because I can go for a walk, I can practice more, I can go to the beach, I can go to the parks. Weather and good health.
Yeah, that's a good point about how much the weather can affect your opportunities, right? What you can do.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the reason why, I like to travel. And when I went to Peru, it was winter and cold, and it was nice. But I wouldn't want to live in that. And in Arizona, we kind of have the desert and we have the mountains. So things are always kind of hot or they're cold, and that really limits you, I think. So again, kind of getting back to where I was going with that point, I like living where I live now because it's so temperate all year. So I always have options. I can still go up in altitude and get a little chilly weather if I want. I can always go down to the beach where it's nice and warm. Weather can really affect your options.
yeah. Here there are 8 months hot weather. Just we have a 4 month cool weather in winter. Uh, Even
Yeah.
there is no rain, but the weather is still cool because we can do a lot of activities.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much the same as Arizona. You have November, December, January, and February. That's the winter, and October and March are sometimes pretty nice, but sometimes they're hot. April to September is 100% hot summer, so it's mostly hot,
Yeah,
which gets very old, especially in that long stretch like June,
yeah,
July, and August.
yeah.
Whew, rough time of year in the desert.
Yeah, it's very hard to live in hot weather, especially for me. I used to live in Syria. I born in Syria and raised in Syria, so the weather there is very nice, very cool in summer. We don't have very hot weather, so when I moved here, I find it difficult to adjust to with the hot weather.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is. Arizona has brought a lot of people in from other states, and so I've seen people go through that adjustment phase, and especially if you didn't grow up in it or you weren't born in it, it can be very difficult to adjust.
Yeah.
All right, so here's one of those role plays we can do. In this one, your company is going to start an ideal workday campaign, right? So let's kind of pretend that maybe you're a teacher at this point and you're working at a school as a teacher, right? So at the school, they're going to have this ideal workday campaign, just trying to encourage the teachers and the employees to be mindful of how they're spending their work. Right? So you are going to create this video to kind of promote this idea, right? To kind of, teach other teachers about like, hey, this is why we're doing this ideal workday. What kind of things would you want to highlight or put in your video?
Yeah, I would say about to plan our days, work days. We should make a schedule for every task, and we should work as a team because that helps us to give more, to produce more, and we should respect it and give each other the chance to express ourselves. And if anyone have any idea, he can express about this idea. Maybe this idea will help us to improve our work and to give us the chance to be more active. Uh, yeah.
I like that. I like that. I've worked in schools before, and it can be a very exhausting job sometimes. Going from class to class. Especially if your classes are big, like 40 students plus. And I think what helps a lot with that is having a schedule. Being prepared, and the support that you get from your coworkers.
Yeah.
Having that lunch hour to, talk with the other teachers, having those times to prepare your lesson. So I would highlight kind of a lot of that teamwork that you brought up and having that schedule as well. I think that makes it easier, especially on those long days. At school, right? Your days are always different. One day,
Yeah.
you might have kids for 4 hours of your 8 hours and 4 hours to prep. And some days you might have 8 hours of teaching and no
Yeah.
time to prep, right? So it's good to be prepared, and it's good to have your
Yeah.
fellow colleagues to kind of lean on each other's shoulders when you need it.
Yeah, we should cooperate with each other, and we should. I think we should finish things ahead of time. We shouldn't leave the things at the last minute. This maybe doesn't help us to manage everything better, and maybe we will do a lot of mistakes if we leave things at the last minutes.
Oh, definitely. I would always try to be at least 2 weeks ahead with my lesson plans so that by the time class came, I had made the lesson, it was prepared, and I wasn't stressed out. I could just look over it before class. I had already made it myself, and so I could go in and teach it. But sometimes when you get busy and you fall a little behind, I've had times where, it's like, okay, I'm going into school today and I have my lessons prepared for my first 2 classes, and then I have a 2-hour lesson prep, and I still need to make lessons for those last 2 hours. That's really, really stressful, and it makes your job very hard. So,
Yeah.
I think you're right. You want to be prepared. You want to be ahead of things. So it's important to use your time wisely and to make sure you don't fall behind like that. Makes
Yeah.
the job much, much harder.
Maybe in
Uh,
addition to this, we can make a priorities tasks. Which task is the most important, and after that, so help us to be more active.
Yeah, definitely. I think having a plan, and again, using your time wisely, right? Sometimes maybe you've taught for 4 hours in the morning, and then you got a 2-hour lesson plan and lunch, and you just lay back and talk with the other teachers, but you know that you need to use that time as well to prepare, and you need to be, efficient, so having a schedule that says like, okay, maybe during that 2 hours, I will relax for 1 hour to recharge my batteries and eat my lunch. But halfway through that time, I need to start doing some lesson planning for, again, maybe a couple weeks out. It's important.
Yeah.
It's important to stay on track. Wow. So more discussion questions about the ideal day. So would you prefer to have like a big party with your friends or like relax in a quiet place alone?
I prefer to meet my friends. We have parties, to do any activities. I don't like to stay alone at home. Even if I have a full week working, a full week. It's correct. A full week
Mhm.
working. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like to stay my weekend at my home. I can take a rest for 1 hour, 2 hours, but I don't like to stay the full day, the full weekend at my home. I prefer to stay my weekend with my family, with my friends.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I definitely, again, as I kind of get older, I get a little more relaxed. I used to like just want to be super busy all weekend and really enjoy every minute. Now I like a little more balance, right? So on Saturday, maybe go out and be really busy and then take Sunday to have a more relaxed day. Or maybe go out the first half of each day, but have the evening, more to myself. But that's definitely something that has changed about me,
Yeah.
over time. And so it's kind of the same with the next question for me. I like a little bit of flexibility. I like a little bit of schedule. But what about you? Coming up to, let's say, your weekend, would you like that weekend to be kind of scheduled out and have stuff planned? Or would you like to kind of just go with the flow and be a little more flexible with it?
Yeah, I prefer to be more flexible. I don't at my weekend. I don't plan a lot for my weekend. I leave things and I stay my day with my family. I prefer to be a flexible hours through the day. Maybe I will go out. Maybe I will stay at my home in my home in my sister home, or I visit some friends.
Yeah, yeah. Flexibility is nice. It's very calming, very freeing. Sometimes I like to know, like, all right, I'm going to go out for breakfast or lunch, or maybe I'm going to go do this hike. But again, I don't like my whole day to be completely planned out. I like to know that, like, okay, if I'm tired, I can relax in the evening, or if I'm ready to go, I can go out for dinner.
Yeah,
And I can also kind of adapt to maybe what my friends or family want to do too, in the moment. It's nice to have that freedom.
yeah.
All right, good, good. Let's see. We got less than a minute left, and yeah, I think that these practice things were a little too easy today, so we'll just kind of wind down. Any questions about today's lesson or anything? Or
No, it was a nice conversation. I have one question. If I want to choose to study another course, should I choose it from the intermediate course or from the advanced course?
um,
Depends on my level.
I think, as we see here with the exercises in the intermediate, they are a little too easy for you, but there's plenty of other pieces that can elicit some conversation that are good. So I would say more just a topic that's interesting to you is more important than the difficulty because we can always go wherever we want, right?
Okay, thank you.